Hey y'all, it's Friday and I have a super quick project for y'all before I start my weekend. I'm going to remake this sign I got on clearance at Dollar General. I'm going to be using these napkins that I got on clearance at Marshall's. They're just kind of a foresty type print, but with muted Valentine's colors. And I also have a couple of these wooden hearts where I'm going to replace that wreath with the heart. First, I have to get to work taking all these letters off, and that does take a little patience, but I tried to go really slow and easy so that I didn't break any of the letters, and I did manage to get them all off without any major casualties. And then I'm going to use this truffle chalk paint to paint over all of my letters. And I really like these chip brushes for this type of project. They just give really good quick coverage, and those bristles get in all the cracks and crevices really nice. So they're just nice to use whenever you have a item kind of to paint with lots of edges. And then once my letters are done, I'm also going to paint this bigger heart that I'm going to use as the O in my word welcome. Now, I didn't quite have the color I wanted for that little heart, so I'm going to take some of this, I think it's ballet pink chalk paint, and some of the terracotta paint and mix together so I can get more of an orangey pink that I think is going to match my napkin. And then once I get that mixed up, I painted that on the smaller heart. Now I'm going to take my sanding block and just sand around the edges to kind of distress them, scuff them up a little bit. And you're going to see that the red color kind of does peek through, but I think it's going to blend with my napkin, so I'm not too worried about it. And now I'm ready to decoupage the napkin onto my board. So I'm going to cut a couple of strips. It's going to take a few pieces to cover the full length of it. I'm just using some glue stick here to separate the plies. You only want one ply. And then I'm going to apply a generous amount of Mod Podge to that base. And I didn't really paint it or do anything else to prep it. I didn't feel like it was really going to be an issue of it showing through. Once the glue is on there, I'm going to start laying down my napkin pieces, and here I'm just kind of tearing that top edge so that it looks a little feathered where it attaches together. You can kind of add more glue where you need it if you see that some parts aren't laying down well, and then I'm going to start applying glue to the top side. Now this part did start to get a little messy. I was getting a little worried. It was getting kind of wrinkled and puffing up. So I went ahead and spritzed it with some water and dried it with my heat gun, and it shrank up pretty nicely. And then I used my X-Acto knife to go around the edges and cut away any of the excess napkin that was sticking up. Before I attach my letters, I decided to give them a little bit of this distress ink just to tone down that red a little bit. I wanted them to look kind of old and weathered and not have so much of that bright red showing through. I wanted it to look a little more distressed. And then I just laid them out on my board. I kind of measured the center letter where it needed to be and then started gluing them on, just kind of eyeballing it, spacing them out and making them as straight as I can. You can measure if you want, but I just didn't. And then I added that little heart on top. And I'm using this darker brown ink pad to go around the edges, and of course a little heavy in the corners, and then also that walnut color distress ink to give it a little extra color around the edges as well. It just gives it a little extra dimension to have those multiple shades and just pull out those browns from my napkin. And there's my finished project. I think it's super cute. Now the lights kind of made a little bit of a glare here in my video, making it hard to show you. This is just one of those projects that I kind of wish you could just see in person because it looks so much better. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope it inspired you to get a little crafty.